what they're talking about, and you eventually learn a lot from them, and it's like a one-on-one experience, and you get to know the people you are working with,
Right.
and actually could give you potential allies later in the future also.
Very good, very good. Well, we've been talking about the importance of mentors and so on. I forgot something that I should have probably asked you to tell us. That is, we should give credit to the mentors as well as the institutions that help you. So we will start again from Dalia. Who is working, helping you? What institution you're working with? This is, how we get, started, hoping to get more people involved.
My mentor is Dr. Tamara Laredo, so that's my aunt, and a couple of her colleagues helped a little bit too at Lakehead University in Canada.
Excuse me.
It's up in Canada, so I stayed for a full 5 weeks with her.
What university?
Lakehead University.
Oh, Lakehead University.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went from I worked full work days, so 8:30 to 5, trying to fit in as much as I could from her.
Mm-hmm.
But the best thing was being able to call up your mentor and ask questions from there. So even when I was working in my basement, I had the expertise to
Very good.
fall back on.
Excellent. Yeah. And your mentor, where is she from?
My mentor is Dr. Lynn Maley, and she works at Mount St. Mary College.
Mount St. Mary, yeah. Yeah. Okay. And about Manisha?
This is gonna sound really cocky, but I can't give out that information. There's confidentiality stuff regarding that.
Well, certainly that's good. It's just like anybody that engage research in national interests or national security. You cannot tell what I do. Still, I'm doing research, right?
Yeah.
That's certainly fair, and I'm sure that I don't know about high school students, but many college students and professors engaged in national security research cannot publish, cannot tell people, and sometimes it's a pity because you do want to let people know what you do, but then you are forbidden, right?
Yeah.
So, but I assume that after a certain time, you should be able to tell people.
Yeah, once things, as I said before, it's just beginning, so things are still going on. But once we make more progress with it, it should be able to present and everything.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, these you brought really nice students that really know what they're doing. So, tell me a little bit more about who else are there. You have 54 students now in the program, right? What are the areas that the students are distributed in?
Well, the science research program, again, the goal is to present your work in either the Intel competition or Siemens or the ICEF competition. And there are any number of categories in which kids can compete, whether it be medical science or physics or mathematics or computer science or earth science. And so we have students in a variety of fields. One of the things that I'm conscious of as a teacher is when we get to a competition, if I have 3 students all in the medical field, they're going to be competing against each other. And I would rather have a winner in 3 different categories rather than one winner in one category. Yes.
I don't know whether that's a fair sort of expectation.
Well, I always encourage kids to try different fields because there's a first place winner in biology and there's a first place winner in mathematics, and so I attempt to get kids to go off in different directions so that they're not competing against each other.
Okay, since you mentioned that competition and winning, so on, would you care to talk about so far what Somers has accomplished from winning competition point of view?
Well, our program has been growing as of late. There are other science research programs in Westchester County that have been more successful than the Somers program has been. My goal is to get with them and actually beat them. I've had Intel semifinalists. I've had winners at the ICEF competition. I have a winner sitting right next to me right now. Dalia last year went to Houston, Texas and competed in the I-Sweep competition. There were...
What's the I-Sweep stands for?
International Sustainable
World
Energy
Engineering.
and Engineering and Environment.
Project Olympiad.
Yes. I sweep.
I sweep. Okay.
And there were about 1,000 students there from 60 nations across the world.
Oh, this is international.
It's international. And Dalia was the first place finisher at the
very
competition.
good.
I'm very proud of her,
Congratulations.
and she deserves to be recognized for it. And I think the reason she was a winner was because she actually did a lot of the work in her basement. And I think that...
Oh yeah, people can tell how you did it, where you do it. And I mean, this is a seasoned researcher always know that. I mean, this is, yeah.
And I think that authenticity was important.
Right.
And she worked really hard. She knows her content. And she'll be a good role model this year.
Very good.
So I'm very proud of her.
You have any other that, you know?
We've had,
Yeah?
there are a number of local competitions. And we've had, first place finishers this past year at WESF. We didn't have a first place finisher at a competition called WRJSHS. But, some years you win more, some years you win less. While I think winning is nice, I think the experience of going through the process is important. And I'm, as a teacher, more interested in growing scientists than I am necessarily having a winner, in that I have things I always tell the kids, but we have to stop selling hamburgers to each other in this country. And I think that the science research program gets kids turned on to science, and I've seen more and more kids from the Somer Science Research Program go into careers of science and become medical doctors and become physics professors. And I'm in contact still with kids who graduated a couple of years ago who are beginning their research work as undergraduates in college, and I think it's just a wonderful program, and I want you to become a scientist, and you to become a scientist, and you to become a scientist. I really think it's important.
Right. Well, I agree. And that's in some sense that doing research is like running marathon. It's not so important that you finished first. It's really going through the entire process to the final so-called goal line. I think in real world, actually, when people say, "Oh, you're a marathon runner," they don't ask you, "What's your number?" and so on. I mean, it's just the fact that I am a marathon runner, it's enough. And people respect that, and it's just like research.
I think it's important to take a look at the financial rewards that come along with being a scientist, because they're well paid, and the fulfillment you get of doing science, because it's stimulating. It's different every day. I mean, it's not like a job where you do the same thing every day. Every day is different, and every year is different as your research changes. And so I think it can be just a wonderful career for anyone who chooses to go into it.
Any of you have siblings, younger than you in your family? So can you share a little bit about what do you think? Are you able to either influence them, or whether you want to influence them in terms of going to science research?
Well, my brother is going to be a sophomore, and he's already enrolled in science research.
With your influence, or with your dad's influence, or what?
I don't know, a combination. I think now it's going to be like a bit of a family thing, so he kind of just signed up. I don't think we really had to tell him to.
Very good. Okay.
We did. I was actually surprised, pleasantly surprised to see him when he came home and says, "We got our introduction, and I'm signing up." So
yeah,
sounds good.
We
don't have a mentor yet, but
I actually found it really weird when he signed up, because he had to ask me where the science research room was. And for a lot of kids in our department, like, it's kind of home base in the high school. Like, when you have a free period, you go to science research. If you need to talk about something, you go to science research. There's always someone, like a friend there, or even just like, I would get excited about something that meant like a small grain of rice in my project, but I wanted to go talk about it, so I'd run in and be like, "Mr. Horrace!" So it was very strange to me to realize he's starting at the beginning, and like it's become such a fundamental part of my high school time.
Do you find that this group of students, sort of a cross grade, form a sort of league? I mean, try to not use the word clique, but some group of people that has mutual attraction?
Yeah, I think it's really nice. Everyone wants to hear each other's project and give everyone an opportunity to present and practice, and it's not really like we're competing against each other. We all kind of want to see each other win, and everyone's happy for someone when like you do well. Like everyone was so like supportive of me and like wished me good luck when I left. And I mean, even when I was like in Houston, I saw even more of that because we were isolated. So there was a bunch of just like, I'd like to say like a little community of us nerds, and everyone wanted to hear each other's project and talk about it. And it was really nice. It's like, that's what you get like little clips of when you're in the science research room.
Very good, yeah. You have siblings or no?
I have an older brother. He wasn't. I have an older
brother. I see. All right. Well, let me ask some sort of slightly off this research aspect, but your personal sort of experience in doing this research program. Any stories you care to share? Anything you want to tell?
Should I leave?
I mean, we as a public access television, we do have this unwritten rule that if we do not attack people personally, we do not say profanity type of things.
They'll be
right?
fine.
So you can stay, and funny things is fine. Anything you care to share, that's okay.
You have a million stories. I can tell.
I've gone to school for so long, I remember.
Go ahead, tell us. Yeah.
Like a cute story is when I actually got to the hotel room for the competition, my roommate and I hadn't really talked much. And we started talking, and we ended up talking till 2 a.m. about our research.
Wow.
And only our research. And it was kind of just nice, that atmosphere. I mean, I'm sure I could do that with anyone in the science research room, but like, it was really nice because everyone wants to hear each other's perspectives and everything, and even someone who doesn't know your project because you've spent so much time becoming an expert on it can still find it interesting because it's just so applicable.
I have a story that Mr. Horrace and Mr. Mayo always bring up to make fun of me about. It was earlier in the year. I finished reading an article, and I was about to email this guy. And I couldn't really find his profile online, like within the article, so I looked up it online and emailed it. Get the email back a couple of days later, and it turns out I had emailed the wrong guy.
Same name.
With the same name. and a PhD.
Same name, same PhD, same area of research. But they always bring it up to make fun of me about it. But like, it would actually turn out really great. Actually, even though I didn't find a mentor from that experience, I actually this guy was super nice to me, and he was trying to help me find a mentor. And he completely understood because he actually had been in contact with the guy I was supposed to.
They know each other?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So. But I actually, we had like a long email chain going back and forth, him trying to help me, trying to find a mentor. And even though I didn't find one from that experience, he helped me so much. And I actually did realize maybe one area that I actually really wanted to focus on, because it was earlier in the year when I needed to broaden my topic, and then I actually needed to refocus it, so it actually did help me a lot.
Yeah, that kind of story, yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, not only sometimes it's identical name, but sometimes not even identical name, just because the sequence of the authorship on the paper, you can get misled. First name could be the senior professor, could be a junior student. You never know. Sometimes you communicate, and by assuming that, I mean, I can share one personal story. I had published a paper with my advisor back in the graduate school. That was in physical review letters. I was the first author, and I was a graduate student. That's in the school. Sometimes graduate students get treated a little better in the sense that they do, sometimes give you first authorship. And I was invited then, later on, by the Japanese Physical Society to give a keynote speech. And when I was already joining IBM, away from my field, that field was in physics, it's phonons. When I received that, IBM management is very supportive, and they are very conscientious about their scientists being invited. So therefore, I was encouraged to go with expense paid, everything, to Japan. And I, of course, was courtesy. I called my advisor. I said, well, I have received this letter. My advisor is also very, I guess I say sensible person. He says, well, you can represent us. Don't worry, go ahead. So I did. But of course, when I arrived at the airport, being a 20-some years old person, and all these people are 50, 60-year-old, professors, and in Japan, the packing order is fairly significant and important. A full professor comes with associate professor, standing behind, walking behind, and then assistant professor and graduate student in a, I wouldn't call it like a geese ducking, but it's in a very, neat packing. And I surprised them. This guy is a, young person. So eventually that I can tell the full professor do not feel very comfortable. And eventually I have that understanding. I offer to associate with the younger people and say, take me to the hotel, so on and so forth. So that experience tells me when you email, communicate with in the scientific world, you should do a little research. You should understand who is doing what in that particular piece of work, who is sort of a major contribution. Although in my case, I wouldn't consider myself not a major contributor, but still I think the intention for their invitation is to get the most senior guy to speak at the society meeting. So that, How about you? You have any story?
Not that it's really a story, but I guess one of the most important things that I learned through science research was like the art of communication, I guess. And I remember the first time we were forced to speak, because that's basically what it is. No one wants to speak, but we're forced to do it and talk about our project. Was very early sophomore year. We just sat around a table with our class, and we had to discuss our topic and what we've learned about it so far. And I wouldn't call myself a bad student, but I hadn't prepared at all. We knew that the speech was coming, and I did not prepare at all. I had a sheet of paper with nothing written down on it, because Horrace gave us all these questions that we were supposed to answer, and I was so nervous the whole time, and I was stuttering.
Okay,
and
tell me why you're not preparing.
I guess because you're taking other parts of the process more seriously. So you think
the presentation is like a...
You think it's like, oh, you're going to be fine, it's no big deal. And then you get to it, and you're so like... You have no idea what's coming. You're so nervous, you're stuttering. And I remember that first presentation, and then I look at it all the way now. I'm talking here. I had my presentation at a competition, and I practiced, and I practiced, and I practiced, and it made me so much more comfortable. And the fact that through this whole process, they force you to speak in class, it allows you to grow as a public speaker, and it's such a great life skill.
Yeah, that I agree. I mean, this is important. This part of a research we're training you to have this verbal communication skill as well as written, because eventually people still depend on reading journal articles and so on and so forth. These two skills are golden skills for any career, any profession. Okay, I mean, it's just, no question about it. All right, we probably running close to our time, but I like to, again, go back to our purpose of the whole interview and talking about this research program is to help Somers School as well as the community to really make this program even grow further. Okay, so we'll spend a few minutes talk about future, what we see as from a school point of view, community point of view, parents point of view, students point of view. What can we do to help ourselves in moving the science research program further? Okay, you want to take a shot first?
Yes, I think we've made very good strides at Somers, and I think that I have 3 examples of it right here in that the camaraderie that is starting to happen in the Somers Science Research Program, I think, is the key thing that's been missing the last couple of years. We've had isolated bits and pieces, but we have a nucleus of students who understand what it is to be successful. Now, I'm going to go back to your story a little bit, Casey, about being not prepared. You are one of the most prepared people I know right now.
Is that good or bad?
No, that's good. In that, I think initially she was not prepared, and I think she learned a lesson. All of you are, when we were making posters at the end of the year, you were all so helpful to everybody else, and I think it's that community piece that's important in any area, and I think we're seeing that. And I think I thank you for it.
No,
I thank you for it.
That's good.
Yeah, 100%.
And what about Jim? This from a parent or a foundation point of view?
Well, I think as part of raising more awareness is also bringing more mentors in. So we are looking for mentors. If you're a scientist, an engineer that has been an expert in your field, we would love to hear from you. We have our website.
Yeah, the website is, I heard it before, is www.somersscienceresearch.com.
Right. www.somersscienceresearch.com.
Correct.
And we have a form there where we collect your name, and we'll get in touch with you. We'll make sure that we know of you, and we'll make it available to our students so they can pursue that path if the mentor is available.
Right. We are coming to September, the school beginning, right? Don't we have a program that sort of invite parents to hear or watch your sort of indoctrination process?
Well, in the Somers School District, at the beginning of the school year, every building has an open house. At the high school open house, during the public session initially, there will be an announcement made by the foundation, essentially inviting parents to join the foundation. At the middle school this year, Mr. Malia and Mr. Malia is the second science research teacher, are going to go down during the open house, and we're going to take the mic for a few minutes and talk to some of the parents, if we can, briefly about the Somers Science Research Program, and encourage them to take a look at the website. I'm passionate about science. I'm passionate about science research, and I think it's an important program.
Yeah, that passion and the persistence are 2 ingredients that in science research is absolutely necessary. Well, let's talk a little bit more what we can help you or other people can help. This interview is one of the purpose is to let the community sort of hear about this, in particular your personal story, your reasons of getting into, and the advantages you see it, and results you get. What else can we do? I will offer this program, this TV show to the school and to students. Anybody is interested can come, and we can do a interview process or any other presentation. Any ideas?
What do you think? Here's a question. I'll pose a question for you guys. What do you see the next step to make the program grow? What do you see? Manisha, what do you think?
Well, I think as of right now, one thing that they're really doing great is, getting to the kids early, because then they start to spark the interest for the kids. I feel like, especially as I told, freshman year was when I realized they said they're going to go down to the middle school this year to see.
Excellent.
And I think that's even better, because as soon as you start sparking the kids' interest into a specific topic, they become really passionate about it. And then it's their own want that really joins the course.
Right, good.
So if you can expand that in any way, that would, I think, would help improve.
Yeah, I think that Manisha's right. Yeah, we're kind of changing the reputation of the science research department. Like when I was a freshman, people thought it was a course that you could kind of slide by in, and we've all
3 years
stopped,
vacation.
Yeah, I guess we've all stopped telling people that when they ask. We kind of emphasize how much work it is, but I also tell anyone who asks that it doesn't have to be like typical science research, and you can really do what you want with it. So I think when you advertise it in such a positive light, you really get a lot more people wanting to know what
Good.
it is.
Excellent. Well, unfortunately, time is running out. I appreciate you guys all came to the show, and tell your friends and others. I welcome them to come to the show and talk about the research program. So, good luck to all of you. Your program, and yours,
Thank you.
and yours. Okay. And Greg, thanks for coming, and Jim, thanks for coming. So, are we running out of time? Should we tell the audience a bit? Stay tuned for our interview sessions. And next is on politicians, hopefully a debate next week. Thank you.